Regret is the only ghost that truly haunts a house. The weight of time, once ignored, creeps into every corner, and you're left to wonder, did we say everything that needed to be said? In the bright, lively world of a family outing, a father rides beside his son, their bicycles humming through the late afternoon air. The father's hands grip the handlebars a little too tightly, his knuckles pale beneath the worn leather gloves. The son casts long shadows, but there's something in his posture that betrays an unspoken exhaustion. He's here, but his mind isn't. He's pedaling, but he's not really moving forward. The son, unaware, glides ahead, laughing as he twists and turns his BMX bike with the skill of someone who hasn't known hardship. His face is alight with the joy of 1,000 tiny victories, moments his father can no longer access, moments his father gave up years ago. The father looks at his son, proud, yes, but there's a subtle distance between them, a distance not made by miles, but by time. The son's mind is wrapped in the freedom of youth, his body strong and swift, while his father, beneath the mask of the provider, is slowing down. The air is filled with the sharp scent of the road, the familiar hum of their tires against the pavement, but it's the silence between them that speaks louder than any sound. It wasn't always this way. The father remembers a time when the two of them shared the same kind of joy, a time when he would have been the one leading, teaching his son the tricks of the road, not just watching him from behind. But somewhere, along the winding path of life, those moments slipped away. The father's mind drifts back to those early mornings when he would rise before the sun, not for himself, but for his family. The constant rhythm of work, day after day, blurred the days together. His dreams, once vivid and full of color, faded into the background, outshone by the more pressing need to provide. He remembers when he was a young man, full of ambition, looking forward to a future he could shape with his own hands. He had hopes, just like his son, to travel, to explore the world, to find joy in the simple act of being. But those dreams, like the faded lines on the horizon, became distant and impossible. His body, once full of energy, now feels the toll of years spent giving, sacrificing. His legs, once quick, now feel heavy, as if carrying the weight of every missed opportunity, every silent sacrifice. As he pedals beside his son, his body tells the story of a life lived for others. His knees ache with the memory of too many hours spent on hard floors, working for a family that never fully saw the cost of his devotion. He's tired, but he doesn't say it. The son's laughter cuts through the silence, but it doesn't quite reach him. His breath comes a little faster, his chest feels tight, as if the weight of everything he's given up is pressing in. His vision blurs for a moment, and he realizes, for the first time, that he may not have much time left. The mask cracks, just for a second, and the years of sacrifice come rushing in like a flood. The son looks back, noticing the strain on his father's face. It's a fleeting moment, one that might go unnoticed, but in that instant, he sees his father's exhaustion, his age, the toll that years of invisible sacrifice have taken. The world around them continues to move at the same pace, but for them, everything slows down. The realization sinks in. This ride, this time together, may be fleeting. Time is the one thing they cannot regain. The father, despite the growing ache in his body, smiles softly, a smile that says everything and nothing at all. His son, unaware of the weight of that smile, keeps riding ahead, his joy untainted, unaware that every laugh, every moment of happiness is built on a foundation of silent sacrifice. The father's breath quickens as the sun begins to dip lower in the sky, casting a golden hue on the road ahead. His legs burn with every rotation of the pedals, the exhaustion seeping deeper with each passing minute. He tries to push through, hiding the strain behind a thin smile. His son, ahead of him, doesn't notice. The boy's energy is limitless, each trick and maneuver a testament to the carefree nature of youth. The father's hands, calloused and weathered from years of hard labor, grip the handlebars with increasing force, as if the bike might somehow carry him past the weight that's been settling in his chest. But it's no use. The years are catching up to him. His breath is shallow now, the sharpness of his lungs reminding him of the toll of a lifetime spent in silence. He's never spoken about it, never complained. His mind drifts back to the early days, the days when he had dreams of something more. He remembers the feeling of hope, the kind that fills you up before life has a chance to tear it down. He had plans, ambitions that stretched beyond the four walls of their home. He remembers his younger self, eager to conquer the world, to build something lasting. But those dreams, those promises, fell away slowly, piece by piece. He worked tirelessly to provide, to make sure his family didn't want for anything. And in doing so, he sacrificed everything he had once hoped for. The man he became was shaped by those sacrifices, each one adding weight to his soul. Now, as he rides beside his son, he wonders if it was all worth it. He doesn't want to let go, doesn't want to acknowledge that his body is betraying him. His mind races with the thoughts of what could have been, but he knows it's too late for those what-ifs. The silence around him feels heavy, oppressive even, as though it's pressing against his chest. He looks at his son, so full of life, and feels a pang of regret, sharp and fleeting. He's proud, of course, but there's a sadness there too, a sadness he can't put into words. His son doesn't know what it's like to give up a dream, to bury it so deep that it no longer feels like part of you. The boy doesn't understand the cost of the life they have. The father remembers the years of missed moments, the nights spent working overtime, the days that blurred into each other. He remembers when his son was younger, the way he looked up to him, the way he believed that his father could do anything. Now, the roles are reversed. The father feels small, helpless, unable to keep up with the pace of life he's created. His son is too fast, too far ahead, his world expanding while the father's shrinks. And in this moment, he realizes that he has become the one who is left behind. The revelation is quiet, almost imperceptible. It doesn't hit him with the force of a lightning bolt. It's not a grand epiphany. It's simply the quiet realization that the person he once was is no longer there, and the man he's become is a product of sacrifice, duty, and silence. His son's laughter rings in his ears, distant yet full of life, and for a brief moment, the father allows himself to feel the weight of it all. He knows that he can't go back, can't undo the years of sacrifice. But perhaps, just perhaps, he can make peace with it, in this one fleeting moment. The father's hands shake as he grips the handlebars tighter, his body straining against the weight of years gone by. His legs, once strong and sure, now feel like lead as they push the pedals forward. Each turn of the wheels brings a reminder of what's been sacrificed, dreams, hopes, ambitions left behind on the side of the road, buried beneath the daily grind of survival. He looks over at his son, his heart swelling with pride. But there's something else there too, something he can't shake. A quiet ache. The son is unaware, lost in his own world of tricks and excitement. His youthful energy radiating as he leans into the turns, the world moving fast and free around him. The father watches, his gaze distant, as the boy executes another perfect maneuver. There's a moment of jealousy, silent, brief, but sharp. How easy it must be for him to ride through life without the weight of all that's been sacrificed. The father looks down at his own hands, rough and worn, the skin cracked from years of hard work. He remembers the years he spent working double shifts, barely seeing his family, the nights spent away from his children. He remembers when he first learned to work with his hands, the excitement of a new job, the promise of a better future. But that promise was always just out of reach. There were always bills to pay, always more hours to work. And slowly, his dreams faded away, replaced by a life of duty and obligation. He recalls the sacrifices, the moments he missed, the times he said no to things he loved, to build a life for his family. His body aches with the memory of all that effort, the constant push to keep going, to keep providing, even when it seemed like nothing would ever change. The father thinks back to when he was young, full of hope and ambition. He remembers a time when the world seemed wide open, a future that he could shape. But then life happened, responsibilities, bills, and the weight of others depending on him. Slowly, the boy he was disappeared, replaced by a man who learned to keep going, no matter the cost. He never showed it, never let anyone see how much it hurt, but the cost was always there. The father looks at his son again, and for the first time, he feels the gap between them. It's not just the difference in age or experience. It's something deeper, something unspoken. His son has been given opportunities he never had, a freedom that the father could never afford. The realization hits him hard. The boy's life is full of promise, full of possibilities, and the father's life is full of sacrifices, full of what might have been. The pain is sharp and sudden, like a breath caught in his chest. His son calls out to him, oblivious, urging him to catch up, to race faster. But the father's body won't allow it. His legs are giving out, his breath shallow, and for the first time, he realizes that he can't keep up anymore. He can't keep pretending that everything is fine. He can't keep ignoring the fact that his body is worn out, his spirit tired from years of carrying burdens alone. He feels a wave of guilt wash over him. Did he do enough for his family? Did he give them everything they needed, even when it cost him everything? The weight of the question presses on him, and for a moment, he's unsure of the answer. The boy's laughter echoes in the distance, but the father remains still, his mind caught in the quiet storm of regrets. He knows now that there are no answers to some of these questions, only the understanding that the sacrifices he made were never truly seen. His son will never fully understand the weight of what was given, and perhaps that's the way it should be. But that doesn't make it any easier. He takes a deep breath, and for the first time, he allows himself to acknowledge the truth. The truth that the years of silent sacrifice have taken their toll, and the man he has become is shaped by what he has lost, what he has given up in the name of love. The father's legs tremble beneath him as he struggles to keep up with the pace. His breathing is shallow, the air heavy in his chest, and he can feel the weight of the years bearing down on him. His mind drifts back, deeper now, to the days when he first started this journey, when he thought everything was possible, when hope was something he carried like a shield, not knowing how quickly it would be worn down by time. He remembers the days before the weight of responsibility turned his life into a series of tasks, before the constant grind of survival became the only rhythm he knew. Back then, there was a spark in his eyes, a belief that things could be different, that he could create a life not just for his family, but for himself as well. But those days faded, little by little, until they were nothing but distant memories. The dreams of travel, the thoughts of a world outside the confines of his small town, became impossible luxuries. Every decision he made was for them, his family, his children, but he never stopped to think about what it was costing him. He never asked himself if it was worth it, because he thought it was his duty to give everything, to sacrifice until there was nothing left. The son, still ahead, seems so far away now, a figure riding freely through life without the burden of a history his father carries. The father can't help but feel the gap between them widening, not just in age, but in experience, in the kind of life they've lived. His son, with his future stretching out in front of him, will never understand the weight of the choices his father made, the moments his father missed. There was no one to guide him, no one to tell him that the sacrifices would eventually weigh him down, that the dreams would slowly slip away, hidden under the weight of responsibility. He realizes now that he's been so focused on giving everything, on providing the life he thought they needed, that he never took the time to live the life he wanted. The sound of his son's laughter, so full of joy and freedom, echoes in his ears, but it only serves to remind him of what he's lost. He's given everything for this family, but in doing so, he's lost himself. His knees ache as he continues to pedal, the pain shooting up his legs with every movement. It's more than just physical exhaustion now. It's the realization that the man he once was, the man who had dreams, is no longer there. His son looks back, urging him to catch up, to ride faster, but the father can't. He feels the weight of his own body, the years of hard work, and the sacrifices he's made. He wants to tell his son about the dreams he had, the life he thought he would lead, but the words don't come. There's no time for that now. Instead, he watches as his son rides ahead, his energy untainted by the years of toil that have drained his own. The father's heart swells with pride for the boy, but also with a deep, unspoken sadness. He knows the son can't understand, not yet. But he will, someday. And that thought, painful as it is, brings a strange kind of peace. The son is riding toward a future the father never had the chance to fully experience. And in that moment, the father realizes that this is how it was always meant to be, that his sacrifice, though painful, was never in vain. The father's legs, once strong, now feel like lead, each petal stroke a painful reminder of the years he has given to a life of sacrifice. He can feel his body protesting, the weight of time settling into his joints, the strain of years spent bending, lifting, and never stopping. He looks at his son, still ahead, a blur of energy and youth, and for a brief moment, he feels an overwhelming sense of sadness. The gap between them feels wider than ever, not just in distance, but in the lives they've lived, the worlds they've inhabited. The father's life has been a series of compromises, decisions made for the good of the family, for the sake of providing, of making sure there was always enough. But the cost of those decisions, the sacrifices made without a second thought, have left him a shell of the man he once was. His dreams, once bright and full of possibility, are now just whispers of what could have been. The weight of those unfulfilled dreams presses down on him now, heavier than the tires beneath his feet. He can't help but think of all the moments he missed, the hours spent at work, the days when his children needed him, but he couldn't be there. He had to provide. He had to keep going, no matter how much it hurt. The son doesn't know this. The son doesn't see the quiet toll of years spent in silence, of the things that were sacrificed so that he could have a better life. The father wonders, as he watches the boy ride with such ease, if his son will ever understand the weight of what was given up. If he'll ever see the sacrifices as something more than just the way things were. The boy's laughter rings in the father's ears, and it's a sound that's both beautiful and painful, like the echoes of a life that could have been. For the first time, the father wonders if he's done enough. If the sacrifices he made were worth it. He doesn't have an answer. He knows he can't change the past, can't undo the years of work, of struggle. But he also knows that the time he has left is precious, and he doesn't want to waste it on regret. He looks at his son, the boy who doesn't yet understand the weight of the world, the boy who will one day face his own struggles, his own sacrifices, and hopes that the lessons of sacrifice and love will be enough to guide him. The father's heart swells with pride, but also with a deep, unspoken sorrow. This is the cost of love, of giving everything without asking for anything in return. The father pedals on, his body aching, but his spirit lightened by the quiet understanding that, in the end, the love he gave was enough. The father's breath comes in shallow, ragged gasps as he fights to keep his balance on the bike. His legs, heavy with fatigue, barely push the pedals anymore, each movement a painful reminder of the years that have worn him down. The world around him seems to blur, the fading light of the day mixing with his vision as his body screams for rest. The son, unaware of the struggle behind him, pedals ahead with ease, his laughter ringing in the air like a sweet melody of youth and freedom. The father watches him, feeling the weight of his own body, the toll of a life spent in sacrifice, and for a fleeting moment, the distance between them feels like an insurmountable chasm. He can't keep up anymore. The son, with his endless energy, his unburdened spirit, doesn't know what it's like to carry the weight of years spent in silent toil. The father's thoughts drift back again, deeper this time, to the moments when he first started down this path, the first time he made a choice for the family, the first time he realized that his dreams were no longer his own. He remembers the way he used to feel about the future, that sense of hope and possibility that once filled him with excitement. But somewhere along the way, that hope turned into duty. His dreams faded, slowly at first, then more quickly as the years passed by, replaced by the constant push to provide, to give his family what they needed. And now, he wonders, was it worth it? His body, tired and worn, tells him it wasn't. The sacrifices he made were supposed to be for them, but now he sees that they came at a steep price. His dreams, his desires, his very sense of self, all of it was lost somewhere along the way. He looks at his son again, still riding ahead, so full of life and promise. The boy doesn't know what it's like to give up everything for someone else. He doesn't know what it's like to sacrifice, to watch your own hopes and dreams slip through your fingers while you give everything for someone else's future. The father feels a pang of sadness, not for himself, but for his son. He knows that one day, his son will face the same struggles, the same choices. One day, his son will have to decide what to give up and what to keep, just as he did. And when that day comes, the father hopes that his son will understand, just as he understands now, that sometimes the greatest sacrifices are the ones that go unseen. The father's legs finally give out, and he pulls over to the side of the road, unable to continue. He watches his son from a distance, his heart heavy with both pride and regret. The boy, still unaware of the weight his father carries, turns back and pedals toward him, slowing down when he sees the father resting. The father forces a smile, but inside, he feels like he's crumbling, like the years of sacrifices have finally caught up with him. His son stops beside him, asking if he's okay, and the father simply nods, unable to put into words the depth of what he's feeling. The silence between them is thick, filled with the weight of everything that's been left unsaid. The father knows that his time is running out, that the dreams he once had are gone, but maybe, just maybe, the time he has left with his son can be enough to make peace with it all. The son, still so young and full of potential, represents everything the father has worked for, everything he has sacrificed. And in this moment, the father realizes that perhaps the greatest gift he can give is to show his son that it's okay to let go, to embrace the love they have now, without regret. The father's chest tightens as he watches his son approach, the sound of the tires rolling gently over the pavement, the only noise breaking the silence. The boy's eyes are full of concern, a question hanging in the air between them. The father looks up, meeting his son's gaze, and for the first time in years, the mask slips completely. The weight of his years, the quiet suffering, the sacrifices, it all floods in. But this time, he doesn't try to push it back. He simply sits there, taking a breath, letting the moment stretch out. His son's voice cuts through the stillness, asking if he's okay. The father wants to say something, to explain it all, but the words are caught in his throat, tangled with regret and pride. He doesn't want his son to carry the burden of his sacrifices, not anymore. Not when the boy has so much ahead of him. Instead, he nods, offering a faint smile, the best he can do. The son, seeing the exhaustion in his father's face, doesn't push. He sits beside him for a moment, the world continuing to spin around them, but everything else fades into the background. The father feels the weight of the moment, the unspoken connection between them, something deeper than words. He wonders, for the first time, if he's been seen, if all the years of struggle have somehow made their way into the heart of his son. The boy doesn't know the full extent of the sacrifices, but he's beginning to understand, in his own way, what it means to carry a burden that never shows. The father looks over at his son, who is now studying him with a quiet intensity. The realization hits him like a wave. The time for pretending is over. The world may have moved too fast for him, but he can see that his son is ready to face it, ready to carve out his own path, just as the father once tried to do. The son's smile, so full of hope and promise, reminds him that all the sacrifices were not in vain. For the first time in a long while, the father feels the weight begin to lift. It doesn't vanish completely, not yet, but there's a sense of peace that settles into his chest. He doesn't need to explain every detail, every hidden pain. The son doesn't need to know it all. What matters now is that they are here, together. What matters is that, despite everything, the father has done his part. He has loved, he has given, and now, as his son looks back at him with a quiet understanding, the father knows that it was enough. The weight of his own past, of the things he couldn't change, slowly fades into something more manageable, something he can accept. It's not forgiveness, not yet, but it's the beginning of healing. He watches his son ride ahead once more, a feeling of pride swelling in his chest. The boy, unaware of the depth of the moment, rides freely, but the father, for the first time, understands that freedom can exist within the bounds of sacrifice. He can let go now, because he knows that the future, his son's future, is bright. The son looks back once more, their eyes meeting for just a brief second. The father gives a small wave, a gesture of acceptance, a silent promise that whatever comes next, they will face it together, no longer burdened by the weight of the past. The ride continues, the father a little slower now, but more at peace than he has been in years. The ride slows as the father watches his son, the distance between them now filled with a quiet understanding that lingers in the air. The father's legs ache with every pedal, but there's a calmness in him that wasn't there before, a sense of resolution settling into his bones. He can still feel the weight of the past, but it doesn't feel as heavy now, not as suffocating. He looks at his son, who's ahead, his figure still full of energy and life, unaware of the transformation that has taken place between them in these few moments. The father's mind drifts again, but this time it's not to regrets or what could have been. Instead, he thinks about what he's given, not just in material things, but in moments of love, in quiet acts of care. He's been there, in the small ways that count, the fixing of bikes, the teaching of lessons, the sacrifices that no one ever saw, but that shaped the life they live now. It wasn't always easy, and it wasn't always what he had hoped for, but it was real. The father knows now that it was enough. As they continue down the road, the son looks back, their eyes meeting for the briefest moment, a wordless exchange passing between them. The father smiles, not just with his lips, but with his eyes, and the weight that had once anchored him feels a little lighter. The son rides ahead again, full of life, the world stretched out before him like an open road, and the father realizes that this is what it's all been for. This moment right here, this quiet connection between them, the promise that no matter what happens, they will always find each other again. The past is still there, with all its sacrifices and its pain, but it no longer holds him prisoner. He can breathe now, knowing that his son will carry what he has learned, the love and the sacrifices, into his own future. The ride isn't over, but in this moment, it feels like it's come full circle. The father continues, slower now, but steadier, feeling a sense of peace he hasn't known in years. He watches his son ride ahead, still full of the energy that seems endless, and he feels a warmth inside, a quiet pride. He's done his part, and that's enough. The road stretches on, and they continue together, a little slower, but closer than ever before. The father rides a little slower now, the wind brushing against his face as the sun sinks lower on the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. He feels the road beneath him, each pedal a small effort, but it's not the same effort it once was. His body may be tired, but his mind is clearer, lighter than it has been in years. He looks at his son, still ahead, full of energy, and for the first time, the father doesn't feel the distance between them as a burden. He feels pride, deep, unspoken pride, in the way his son rides, in the way he moves forward with the kind of freedom the father had once dreamed of. The road stretches out before them, endless and wide, and the father feels, for the first time in so long, that he can let go. Let go of the guilt, let go of the regrets, and simply accept what has been. The boy's laughter echoes in the air, pure and light, as he takes a turn, his bike slicing through the air like a dancer in the wind. The father watches, a soft smile tugging at the corners of his lips. He knows this moment is fleeting, that they can never go back, but somehow, it doesn't matter. There's no more need to try to fix the past, no more need to apologize for what wasn't said or done. The father's heart swells with a kind of peace he's never known before. He rides on, each movement more fluid, more relaxed than before. The ache in his legs is still there, but it no longer feels like a weight. It feels like a part of the journey. He realizes now that the journey isn't about the destination, isn't about what was lost or what was sacrificed. It's about being here, in this moment, with the people who matter most. The son, still ahead, glances back and sees his father's smile, and for a moment, their eyes meet, silent, but full of understanding. The father knows, without saying a word, that his son understands more than he ever thought possible. That this ride, this moment, this connection between them, is all that matters now. The road ahead is still long, but for the first time in a long while, the father isn't afraid of what's to come. He doesn't have to carry the weight of the past anymore. He doesn't have to be the strong one all the time. The son will take the lessons, the sacrifices, and the love with him. And the father? He will ride forward, no longer burdened, but with a heart full of quiet peace, ready to see the world through his son's eyes, if only for a moment. The sun sets, casting a warm glow over everything, and the two of them continue down the road, together, as the world around them fades into the soft, fading light.